from 32 yards out with the breeze. 19 for 23 is Paredes in one-point converts. Marquay McDaniel, though, a couple more big plays, almost had a touchdown, but this was the big one. Got them down inside the red zone, and soon inside the end zone for the Stamps, who lead 14-0.
7-play drive, 60 yards, 8 up, 3 minutes and 24 seconds. This was the big play, 28-yarder to Marquay McDaniel. A throw nice low and into the middle where he could protect himself. He got it down to the 1-yard line, and Moniz knocks it in from there for the Calgary Stampeders. A real turn of events. The Toronto Argonauts had the kick return touchdown off the board because of the James Yurichuk penalty, and 3 minutes later they look up and they're down by 14.
Yeah, the Horsemen have feasted here in this first quarter. Notoriously, they have been been a bit of a struggle in the first quarters for the Calgary Stampeders. Minus 47 differential this season, but right now plus 14.
Think about all those little things. The interception. Trevor Harris throws, turns into the first touchdown for Calgary. 7 points or 6 points off the turnover. They missed the convert, and then that penalty by Yurichuk, and Calgary is up by 2 scores.
Spencer again, follow the football, and the Argos look like they may have recovered. Wow. And it is a shaky start for the Argos here in Hamilton today.
Thomas Miles may have bailed out his teammate.
Charlie Power knocked the ball out. The Argos recover.
It was Miles.
For Manitoba Bison star Thomas Miles making his presence felt as a starting linebacker as well, with Corey Greenwood out of the lineup. So the Argo offense has to get on track here. 5 minutes to go, again operating against the wind. Harris now in trouble. Will go down as the pocket closed, wanted to take off, still got positive yardage, picked up a couple. Let's go to the sideline now and join Matthew Shinetti.
Rod, Chad Owens isn't going to complain, because even though injuries may have stopped his ability to gain a better relationship with Trevor Harris, the one that Gurley, Elliott, and Hazelton have, what Owens is doing is being a better leader. He started a kind of friendly competition between himself and the younger receivers, saying, let's see who can make the best catch, more receiving yards. And of course, we all saw what he did against Ottawa a couple weeks ago. But the younger receivers, in particular Deontay Spencer, watch Owens so particularly now in practice. And Owens says, yes, maybe I could complain, but I'm not going to. This is the best receiving core I've been around, and I want to teach them. Guys?
Well, on cue. Thank you, Matthew. Chad Owens makes the catch. Charleston Hughes looked like he jumped offside. So this will likely be declined. And they'll take the catch by Owens.
It's been interesting to see Chad Owens this year in that role, a different role for him. I mean, he has been
Calgary, number 39. Penalties decline. First down, Toronto.
I mean, he's in the last couple of weeks have really stepped up, and Chad Owens has made some big plays when called upon, but he's been called upon a lot less this year because of the new receivers in the core.
Great point by Matty. And listening to Brandon Whitaker yesterday talk about Owens and how he has become a leader, and what Chad Owens did against the Ottawa Redblacks when he showed us why he is called the Flying Hawaiian.
Well, and I mean, he still makes the biggest catch in recent memory when called upon, and makes the plays. A couple weeks earlier against Ottawa, he had a punt return for a touchdown. So when he's called upon, he's stepping up, especially of late. He was injured out of the gate, out of training camp.
Still very dependable as Harris goes over the top, 2nd and 10. Owens gets drilled by Deron Mayo.
Be close. He's going to be
very close. He's actually going to look like where the spot is.
I think they're going to kick it away.
Yeah, they're going to be about 4 yards shy. I finally figured out what they call that play, though. They did write that play up, the Trevor Harris to Chad Owens, even though
the one-hander.
Yeah, it's the CO2 OMG TD. That's what it was.
CO2. Hang on, I'm writing that down.
TD.
CO2 OMG
TD. That's what they called in the huddle.
Oh my God.
That's what that was. They'll kick this away, 3rd and 4. Oh, close to being blocked. Tim Brown. So Brown brings it up near the 40-yard line, and the Stamps bring their offense out here. They've been here a couple of weeks ago against the Ticats, and needless to say, John Hufnagel knows today is just a little bit different.
But the little inconvenience that we have to put up with is nowhere near what that Toronto football team has had to put up all year long. And, you know, they've done a remarkable job of handling the inconvenience and the distractions and using it as a rallying cry. And like they stated, hey, they'll play in the parking lot.
Well, yes, they would. The parking lot today is here at Tim Hortons Field. Anthony Parker.
Yeah, you know, and this is why Scott Milanovic, I don't know if you vote, Rod, for Coach of the Year every year. I do, and I get a ballot. You put the 3 names down that you think are deserving. And
are you giving away your vote already?
Well, one of them, Scott Milanovic, is on there for sure. You know, and the adversity and what they face. But listen, at the end of the day, it's a beautiful night in Hamilton. We're in a state-of-the-art stadium. 2 great football teams on the field.
Absolutely.
I mean, is there anything to complain about? Yeah, let's just have some fun and watch some football.
Yeah, it's been a magical mystery tour for sure. And it has been an inconvenience in so many ways for the Argos, but
they haven't used it.
It's a cliche saying. It is what it is.
Well, and
next year will be a whole lot better at BMO Field.
Oh, absolutely. And they're 9-5 football team. And, you know, in some ways, being on the road in all these different games has probably brought them together a little bit. They're a young team. You know, they're a young team with young receiving core, young secondary. And Scott Milanovic has done a great job of not using it ever as an excuse. They've become the Road Warriors, and Ricky Foley even made the T-shirts that says Toronto against everyone.
Yeah, there you go. I figure Ricky would do something like that. Maver angles to Owens. Corralled near the 20 and brought down near the 22-yard line with 1:19 to go in the first quarter. And the Argos trying to move this football a battle of field position right now. They will have the wind in the second quarter.
You know, we got a couple of young quarterbacks on the marquee here. Trevor Harris, his first year starting basically as the guy with the keys to the car. And of course, Bo Levi Mitchell, he's young as well. And the future is right now in the young quarterback department. Some of these guys aren't necessarily young in age. Mike Riley's at 30 years old, but he's got lots of time left in him. Zach Collaros, of course, will be back from injury. That's a pretty good list, and the future is right now for those quarterbacks.
There's the rush, and Hazelton has some blocks. A convoy out front. Got to the second level and beyond. Up near the 42-yard line. And Vidal Hazelton popped that shoulder pad back in, but moves the football. Good play.
Great shot there, and I just want to show you what we did with this list too. And on the bottom there, James Franklin in Edmonton, Brett Smith in Saskatchewan, Jeff Matthews will play in Hamilton tomorrow, or in Montreal for Hamilton tomorrow. Those guys we have to see a little bit more, but they have a bright future. How about Jonathan Jennings' first half against Winnipeg, over 300 yards passing? Rakeem Cato led Montreal to a win against Calgary. I mean, there's some young talent in the league that is stepping up, and it bodes well for the future, but it's also right now, and right now tonight we're seeing 2 of them.
We are seeing 2 of them, and it is a season like no other we have seen. And, you know, the glass is half full when you see some of these young players get an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
You've been around this league for a long time. It's happened before, by the way, and you have to get a chance to play. And the next thing you do is get a chance to step up. And the next thing you do is get a chance to shine
win and win.
And the next thing you know, they start calling you a star.
Yeah.
And maybe even an MOP. As the rush is on, he feels the heat, and
I think his arm got hit.
Yeah, maybe, as Hazelton was the target. Incomplete pass. That's 1 quarter complete. Not a good quarter for the Toronto Argos, as they give up an interception, and then later had a kick return taken away by penalty. The Stamps lead 14-0 after. Division co-leaders colliding in the Steel City, kind of a neutral site for the Argos and Stamps, a home game for the Argos. It's 14-0 Toronto, but Glenn Suter, you maintain that the score should be something a little bit different.
Should be 7-all. I mean, you know, all the little things matter, all those little plays. When you see the interception by Trevor Harris, that turns into a touchdown for Bo Levi Mitchell, playing almost in the red zone when he took the ball over, only 86 yards passing in that quarter. And then the penalty to James Juracek on the 98-yard Deontay Spencer kick return for a touchdown. Takes the return off the board, takes 6 points off the board, and Calgary scores right away. It's 14-0. All those little things matter.
We'll see how they add up here as the team's trade ends. And now Calgary will operate against the wind, which was blowing pretty fiercely early on. Justin Pilardi again now handles both the kicking and punting duties. And Swayze Waters out of the lineup, and this is a better kick to Tim Brown. Browning makes one miss and then slides up near the 42-yard line. Again, good field position for Bo Levi Mitchell and the former Ticat Marquay McDaniel doing some damage here.
What a quarter for Marquay McDaniel. He has 4 catches in that quarter, 56 yards. Again, not a lot of yards on the board because Calgary started in Toronto's end of the field most of their drives in that first quarter, but only 1 incompletion, and that wasn't a throw in the direction of Marquay McDaniel. That was to the back, Torrey Harrison. McDaniel targeted 4 times, caught 4 catches.
Again, no John Cornish, but Matt Walter gets stuffed up the middle. Thomas Miles makes the tackle. Keep in mind, too, that this Calgary Stampeder team, who is missing a great Canadian back in John Cornish, just added a big Canadian power back this week.
Yes, they did. Jerome Messam in trade with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for a 3rd-round draft pick. There's Messam in the sweat top.
Could you imagine if they ever put those 2 in the backfield?
Well, the other thing is Jerome Messam can play tight end. I mean, blocking may not be his strong suit, but he can catch the ball.
Talk about thunder and lightning. Joe West makes his first catch of the ball game up near the midfield stripe. And the first down marker looks like they'll move the chains. A 9-yard pickup for West.
Calgary Stampeders, Dave Dickinson, the offensive coordinator, do not have Jeff Fuller at in their lineup tonight. And that's why we'll see a little bit more of Lamar Durant and Anthony Parker. Gotta get Joe West going somehow. He's in an off season.
Under 300 yards. As Harrison rumbles left side. And again, keep in mind that bit of a ratio buster as well for the Calgary Stampeders. The fact that they've had so many injuries on their O-line. They have to play 2 American tackles right now, and that changes things considerably.
Yeah, Derek Dennis at left tackle from Temple. Gary Williams, a familiar name for CFL fans, at right tackle from Kentucky. So they've got the import tackles. If they go with Torrey Harrison, that means Lamar Durant has to come in and take one of the American receivers out.
2nd down and 5 for the Stamps. Up 14 and up in the air again. The football out 2. Anthony Parker, the former Calgary Dino, will move the sticks again close to the 35-yard line.
But like we talked about Toronto, Rod, that they don't use the circumstances and their traveling and their road warrior status as an excuse. Calgary and John Hufnagel will not use injuries or anything like that as an excuse. I have not seen a team be hit in one area more than Calgary's been hit in their O-line this year. And they just plugged and played, kept it moving.
Look at the numbers for Bo Levi Mitchell. 8 of 9 so far. And make it 9 of 10. And Matt Walters swallowed up right there by Miles. Maybe even for a loss on the play. So it'll be a throwing down again. And right you are, Suits, about the plug-and-play capacity of the Calgary Stampeders. It speaks to the great depth this organization has.
Yeah, and here's another young great star in the league that is emerging. I mean, Corey Greenwood is hurt, and plugged in there is Thomas Miles. He had a huge game against Montreal for the Argos. Makes a tackle on there and forces 2nd and long here.
Mitchell sends out 6 receivers, and Eric Mark Rogers has his first reception of the ball game, the CFL's leading receiver. There's a penalty flag that came late as he was about to be tackled. He brings it into the red zone immediately, and Toronto signaling that it is against the Stampeders. Looks like it might be a pick play, an interference play against the Stamps.
Illegal interference, blocking downfield prior to the pass. Calgary, number 16. 10-yard penalty, remains second down.
Daniel doesn't like the call.
You can block once the receiver has the ball and is running with it. You can't block before that ball's in the air, and it's very close to the left of your screen. Markway McDaniel makes contact, almost a pick play too, though, on Thomas Miles. So blocking downfield was what was called. The block looked like it came after the catch to me, and that's why McDaniel is shaking his head. But you can't pick either on a crossing route.
So 2nd and 21, they'll only rush 3 and settle back. And Rogers again. So now that is his official first catch of the game. Gets it just past the initial line of scrimmage, and they'll bring out their field goal unit here.
Got back on the board, Eric Rogers, and Mitchell still trying to discuss that penalty. The officials, and I'm not so sure they just maybe necessarily think it was a block downfield. It looked like just a pick play offensively. You can run the rub where you subtly get in the way of a defender trying to close.
Like what you just said, subtly.
But you can't go ahead and just hit him and pick him.
Rene Paredes from the 38.5 against the wind, and he puts that through, and the lead is extended to 17-0. Here in Hamilton, home of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, which they will move, by the way, next year to here at Tim Hortons Place. Well, the Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues right after this. BC Lions in Edmonton at Commonwealth take on the Eskimos on TSN 1, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm sure the Eskimos are tuned into this one because they are neck and neck with the horses in the West. 2 11-win teams coming into today. Brandon Whitaker. And while we were at commercial break, Susie was saying, where's Whitaker? Where's Whitaker? Guess what? There he is. They heard you.
And a penalty flag. I'm not sure if this may be coming back.
Holding, Toronto, number 67. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's the center, Jeff Keeping.
First and 10 goes from the 25-yard.
Only a couple touches so far today for Whitaker.
You just cannot grab the shoulder pad and the jersey up around the shoulder pads.
So 1st and 20, 10-yard penalty. Play action with Whitaker. Now Harris going deep, has his man, and in coverage, Joshua Bell gained an advantage there on those last couple yards, covered some ground as Hazelton was behind cover.
He was, but because Trevor Harris had to step up in the pocket, and it took him a while to get that one out of there, he almost was too far, and it allowed Josh Bell to get back involved from the safety spot. You see safety in the middle. Josh Bell, he kind of steps up, then he recovers. Now, Harris steps up, has to hop a few times, and then it's almost like he outran his arm.
He's going to have to go deep again as it's 2nd down and 20. Chad Owens can't make that go as errant pass is another incompletion for Harris, and they're going to have to kick the football away again. And right now, the Argonauts offense just cannot get any momentum.
Well, you know, a couple of penalties have been huge here in this first half for Toronto. That James Yurchuk, again, uncharacteristic because he just doesn't get those kind of penalties on a return. Or they have 6 points on the board, and then that holding call off a good Brandon Whitaker first down run.
Pilardi lets this fly. Tim Brown. Stamps have not returned a touchdown on a kick this season. In fact, their number's very low, and Brown was hurt. Keep in mind, no return, 50-yard kick. Scott Milanovich puzzled right now. His team down 17. Defending champs with a lot of depth, loaded up again this week. With more, here's Matthew Shinetti.
Absolutely, Rod, standing beside Jerome Messam. And Jerome, we all know how crazy it was when you got the news of the trade, but how have you been adapting to life as a Stampeder over the last few days?
I went and met with the team yesterday when they came to town. Got my playbook and just trying to go through that and get accustomed to the offense.
One thing Coach Dickinson was telling us before the game is that to say that you're going to get more carries or somebody else is going to get more carries isn't fair. It's going to be situational. It's going to be opponent. What has he told you about your role going forward?
Just to come in and be ready to play. So that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, I'm going to try to get the offense down as quick as I can and hopefully hit the ground running.
In terms of sharing the responsibilities with John Cornish, how good can this running attack be going into the playoffs?
John's a great player and it could be awesome. You know, we're both elite backs and we're both capable of starting. So to have both of us in the backfield, it's just great for Calgary.
Thanks for this.
Thank you, guys.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
You know, in the short term, a real good trade by John Huffman.
Jerome Messam has made his way through the CFL West, that's for sure. Matt Walter barrels forward.
He should be close. He's going to be in around that yard or maybe inside it. John Huffnagel getting down there to get a good view of it. You know, in the short term, this is a great trade for the Calgary Stampeders heading into the playoff run here and down the stretch as they fight for first in the division. John Cornish has had an off and on season when it comes to the injuries, and it's the concussion thought again and protocol he's going through. So this gives him more depth than Canadian running back with Matt Walter. But if they can get on the field together, as you mentioned, wow, he could be the fullback, Messam, for a John Cornish tailback set, which would look pretty good too.
Rob Maver, driving kick. Wind seems to have subsided now in this second quarter. Chad Owens has a seam. And Owens, who looked like he might have been stopped for only a 2-yard gain on this return, picks up 29. Jerome Messam out of Brampton back home and now home with the Calgary Stampeders.